Hey everyone, Timola here from forexreviews.info and welcome to this week's edition of the weekly Forex Allocan Review. I hope you're all well and that you had a great trading week last week. Okay, in a few moments, what I'll be doing is highlighting a number of important technical point areas in the market, including opportunity areas, management point areas, and target areas. And I'll also be taking a look at how price action moved last week on multiple markets. Now, before we get into this week's review, I first off would like to mention how much I appreciate you all, and I appreciate all of the community around Forex Reviews. And if you do appreciate this video this week, one way of showing your appreciation is by clicking the like button. Also, if you have a comment or question, feel free to comment below this video. Anyway, let's get into this week's edition of the review. Okay, the first pair I'll tell this week in the review is USD, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, USD broke below and closed below, unfortunately, the 115.50 low area. This was an area that acted as support multiple times, and unfortunately last week, the market broke below and closed below this important area. And now that the market has done this, what I'd like to highlight is a potential pullback area, and that is if the market pulls back and tests the 115.50 zone area this week, that this is now an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish events in this area, and if I see a right bearish events in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the pullback low if the market pulls back from this area, or all the way down to the 113.25 zone area to the downside. So overall on USD, highlighting that if the market pulls back and tests the 115.50 zone area, that this is now an area on this market where we're just looking for bearish events and a potential move to the downside from this area. Okay, well that's that market. Okay, next pair I'd like to highlight is GBUSD, and I'm on the daily chart. Unfortunately, GBUSD broke below that bullish low area last week as well, so similar to USD, and price moved all the way down after that break below, all the way down to the 128.16 zone area. What I'd like to highlight in this market this week is a potential pullback area, and that is if the market pulls back and tests the 130.50 zone area, that this is now an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish events in this area, and if I see a right bearish events in this area, so it's an if-then process, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the 128.16 zone area to the downside. So overall on GBUSD this week, highlighting that if price action pulls back and tests the 130.50 zone area, that this is now an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish events and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well that's that market. Okay, the next pair I'd like to cover is AUD/USD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. Last week in price action, AUD/USD broke below and closed below the 73.35 low area. And now the market's done this, what I'd like to highlight is if the market pulls back and tests the 73.35 zone area, that this is now an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish events in this area. And if I see a right bearish events in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the 71.76 zone area to the downside. So overall on AUD/USD, highlighting that if price action pulls back into the 73.35 zone area, that this is an area on this market where we're just looking for bearish events and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well that's that market. Okay, the next pair that I'd like to cover in this week's review is New Zealand USD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. New Zealand USD broke below and closed below the 66.94 zone area last week in price action. And now the market's done this, what I'd like to highlight is two important areas. The first area I'd like to highlight is if the market pulls back and tests the 66.94 zone area, that this is now an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish events in this area. And if I see a right bearish events in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the 65 zone area to the downside. Now the 65 zone area is also another area I'd like to mention on this market, And in this case, this is an area to the downside. That if price action tests this area this week, that this is an area on this market when we look for bullish evidence. And if I see a right bullish evidence in this area, like I go over in the Forex training on the website, then potentially looking for a move all the way up to the 66.94 zone area to the upside. So overall on News and USD, on the 66.94 zone area as an area on this market where we look for bearish evidence and a potential move to the downside from this important area. If price action tests this area this week, if price action pulls back and tests this area this week, and also on the 65 zone area as an area to the downside where we're looking for bullish evidence and a potential move to the upside from this important area as well. Okay, well that's that market. Okay, next pair to hold is US CAD, and I'm on the daily chart. In the previous review of US CAD, I held the 130.41 zone area as a potential bullish evidence area on this market. And as you can see, the bulls took control recently on this market last week, pushing price to the upside out of this area. What I'd like to highlight is that I'm expecting more continuation to the upside. And for all those people that are holding a buy position on this market, that potentially this market may continue all the way up to the 132.81 zone area. And the 132.81 zone area is a great target area to the upside for all those people holding a buy position on this market from the 130.41 zone area. And it's also an area to the upside that I'd like to mention in this week's review, where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down, all the way back down to the 130.41 zone area to the downside. So overall on US CAD, holding the 132.81 zone area as a potential long-term target area to the upside for all those people that are holding a buy position on this market from the 130.41 zone area. And also on the 132.81 zone area as an area on this market when we're looking for bearish evidence and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well, that's that market. Okay, the next pair I'd like to cover in this week's review is AUD New Zealand, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, AUD New Zealand broke above and closed above the 109.36 high area. And now that the market's done this, what I'd like to highlight is a potential pullback area. And that is if the market pulls back and tests the 109.36 zone area, that this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bullish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way up to this recent high or potentially even higher on this market in the trend. So overall on AUD New Zealand, on the 109.36 zone area as an area on this market, we're just looking for bullish evidence. If the market tests this area this week or in the near future, and a potential move to the upside from this important zone. And I also will note that at the moment this market is an uptrend, and the 109.36 zone area is a great area in the trend to look for potential continuation to the upside. Okay, well that's that market. The next market I'd like to highlight is silver, and I'm on the daily chart on this market this week. The zone I'd like to highlight in this market is a potential pullback area, and that is the 1570 zone area. This is an area that if price action pulls back and tests this area this week or in the near future, that this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to this low area, looking left as a potential management point area to the downside, or potentially move all the way down long term to the 1480 zone area to the downside. So overall on silver, holding that if price action pulls back and tests the 1570 zone area this week or in the near future, that this is an area on this market where we're looking for bearish evidence and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well that's it for me for this week's edition of the review. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate this video today, please do not forget to click that like button to show support. Every like is appreciated, and it's a great way of letting me know you want more videos like this on a regular basis. If you have a comment or question on this week's edition of the review, feel free to comment below this video. Also, if you haven't checked out the Forex training at the website, such as the Engulfing Trader, the 5-day training series, or the Counseling training series just yet, we can find out all about this Forex training by clicking on the links below this video. Okay, well, I hope you all have a great trading week and happy trading.